So it's about time we talk about dating and singleness and what all of that looks like as a Christian woman. Okay, today we're going to do a Q&A, just here answering questions that you guys submitted about, being single. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Hey y'all, how you doing? How you living? It's your girl Kiryn Patrice, sharing all things faith, lifestyle, and inspiration. So over the past couple of weeks, you guys have been submitting questions about singleness, even about my single life, okay? And we're just about to get real transparent. So your girl came prepared, and I wrote all of the questions down in my journal. Okay, so we ready. We stay ready. So number one is tips for single season and how you have gotten through it. So I'm going to start off by saying I'm still currently single. I'm yet still going through it, but these are just some of the things that help me currently in my single season. So I said number one is definitely prayer. I feel like communicating with God really helps me through my emotions whenever I'm feeling lonely or sad. Just turning to Him and redirecting my thoughts towards Him very much helps. Also learning how to embrace my singleness. I know that is a term we hear so much. Oh my gosh, you just have to embrace your singleness. But like, I came to the point like, what does that look like for me? And I feel like that could look different depending on the woman, right? So for me, that's taking myself out on self dates, treating myself to some coffee every now and then, doing a little splurge if it's in the budget, okay? Enjoying my time alone. Learning how to say no. That's a big one for me, because I would extend myself to people, and I had to learn to spend time with me, take myself out on a date. Another thing that's helping me through my single season is connecting with other single women, okay? Having that accountability. Like if I'm going through emotionally and I need to reach out to somebody, like, look sis, it's one of them days. I'm sitting here thinking about my ex. And I know I ain't supposed to be. Like, he did me wrong. Like, why am I thinking about him? And that's when my sis will come in like, girl, forget him. Like, we about to go on a date. Let's go on a sister date. And we could just talk, have a little Bible study, do a little devotion. You know what I'm saying? Like, having that accountability. Accountability. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But having that and having those sister talks really can get you through. And if you don't know how to connect with other single women, there are a lot of single women pages on Instagram, connecting with single women in your church, finding out if there's a singles ministry within your church, and if not, maybe you could start one, okay? And one of the last tips I will give is to invest in yourself. For me, that looks like buying books about singleness. I was a part of a singleness mentorship that was about 9 weeks. And that truly helped me a lot, seriously. So taking the time out to really invest in your season. Like, the single season, y'all, is one of the best seasons ever. And if it doesn't feel like that, we have to make it. Because when you get married, child, there's so much responsibility that comes with that. And being single allows you to fully devote yourself to God, fully devote your time in prayer, Bible study, and you can stay committed to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Treat yourself, boo, period. Alright, moving right along. And these are in no particular order. I just wrote these down as they came through my inbox. But somebody asked me, what is the story time of my worst heartbreak? And y'all, this is something that I don't talk about often. Long story short, it wasn't even actually a relationship. It was what we like to call a situationship, or what Jada would call an entanglement, okay? Not so much an entanglement, but it was a little situationship I had. Me and this guy had talked on and off for about 2 years. And I really thought he was the one, y'all. Like, he was saying all the right stuff. He would make me feel better whenever I was having a bad day. He would give me scriptures throughout the day. He would pray for me. Like, y'all, I really thought this was my husband, right? And then it would be times where stuff didn't add up, or he would ghost me and he would come back like nothing ever happened. And I'm just like, God, what's really going on, right? I thought it was one of the moments where, like, God separated us for us to get great for ourselves and he bring us back together. Baby, it was not that, okay? But every time that he would come back from ghosting me, I had a sense of hope that things would work out, or that I had to be patient in order for this relationship or situationship to work. When I realized that that situation was not what God had for me, I was very, very heartbroken, and I had to let go. That was the hardest part, because I wanted it to work. I wanted it to work out. The reason why it was so hard for me to let go was because I had never been in a full-blown committed relationship before. The last time I had I haven't really seriously dated anybody before. So I dated somebody when I was like a sophomore in high school. And that was really the longest relationship I ever had. It lasted like 8 months, right? But I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? So this, on and off little situationship that I had was the closest thing I felt to turning into something serious. And when I let go, that's when I broke down. And I really had to step away and be like, look, God, clearly this ain't what you have for me. So I'm going to release this over to you, whatever it is. And I'm just going to trust you. Through that process, God began to show me my worth. He began to show me that I have to look out for people's actions, because when you start talking good to me, babe, listen, that's basically the whole deal right there. But I have to pause and say, whoa, are your actions lining up with their words? And that allows me not to settle for less, okay? Moral of the story is, God really allowed me to go through that, I believe, so that I could see and acknowledge when people's actions aren't aligning with their words, or knowing and seeing what God does not have for me. Okay, so when I come into contact with situations or people like that, I know they say, whoa, 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 we're not finna do this, okay? But yeah, little short story time. So here's what y'all really came for, okay? Somebody asked me, how do you feel about dating apps, and would you use them to find love? I will say that I have used dating apps in the past, and I currently still use them, but I'll get into that in a second. I do believe that dating apps can work for some. I do know a few young ladies who have used dating apps and they're currently married now, which I think is super dope. Me personally, the only dating apps that I've used are Upward, United Young. Both of those are Christian dating apps. I will say initially, I don't think there's anything wrong with being on Christian apps, but I want y'all to hear me out. I know a lot of people will say, no, Christians should be on dating apps, and if you're really serious about having a Christ-centered relationship, dating apps are not the way to go. And I hear you, but I feel like God can move in many different avenues, and this is where I feel like being on dating apps comes down to personal convictions. Realizing, why am I signed up for these apps? What is your personal why? I don't believe that these apps are things that consume me. I'm not constantly scrolling, swiping left, swiping right for hours. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. And also, if you're going to be on a dating app, and this goes for any app, I don't care what it is, be very cautious. And it's so important to have discernment, because some people are on these apps for trickery, okay? So short answer is, I don't think there's anything wrong with Christians being on dating apps, but think about your why, have discernment, be cautious, And really, another thing, pray and ask God about it, because like a dating app may not be for you. And you know, other people may have success on it, and that's great for them. But what is God, you know, what's God's will for your life? I think the best thing about God is that, well, there's a lot of things that are great about God, but I think one of the things that is so cool about God is that he gives us a choice, okay? He's not going to force us into anything, okay? And I think the choice of being on a dating app is a thing. But like I said, just remembering all there is to being on a dating app, period, whether it's a Christian dating app or not. All right, the next question says, do you feel it's harder to date as a Christian? And I would say yes. Here's why. So we live in a world, right? And God has already called us to be different. He's already told us that though we live in this world, we are not of it. And so we are not to do things as the world would do. And so I think that also includes dating. I feel like the way Christians date should look different than how the world dates. A lot of times we don't see people courting. I feel like courting is a huge part of preparing for, you know, that Christ-centered marriage. I feel like single women, sometimes we come across a lot of guys who aren't really serious about having a God-centered relationship. And so that, I feel like, makes dating hard, because it's like, dang, who really serious about loving the Lord? Like, you know? But what I feel makes dating easier is being in true relationship with God. When I become closer with God, I begin to understand that whatever doesn't align with the promise, it's not really bothersome anymore, because I know what he has planned for me, right? And I know that his love is the greatest love ever. So it's like, am I really missing out? Okay. Even just living a Christian life isn't easy. So trying to have a successful dating life as a Christian, I feel in the same token, isn't going to be easy. But with God, it can become easier. Number 5, someone asks, do you ever struggle with comparison? Child, I used to struggle with comparison real bad, okay? And when it really hit, it was during quarantine. Like, ooh, I would feel sad, down, like I wouldn't want to come out of my room. And it was because I was scrolling on social media, because I had all this time. I was laid off from work, and I'm just scrolling, and I'm seeing everybody getting proposed to, people getting married, people posting their boyfriend, their girlfriend. Like, God, when is it my turn? Like, but when I came to the realization that social media, it really only gives you a glimpse of someone's life, that really reeled me back into, you know, reality. Like, how can I sit and compare myself to someone either I barely know or someone I think I know because I follow them and we're cool and we're friends? Like, you don't truly know what's going on with someone because you don't live with them, right? You don't see that every day to day as you think you do, because they give you glimpses on social media. Like, what God has for me is, it's gonna be good. So I ain't even gotta worry about all that. Why am I comparing myself? During those times, I had to limit my time on social media. I would turn to prayer journaling those emotions, just being real with God. Like, look, I'm not really happy. I would love to feel special, and you know, it would be nice to have a boyfriend, you know. And it's hard when you have those desires and you see your social media just filled with what you want. It hurts sometimes, right? But over time, when I've just come to the realization that, you know, I don't have to compare myself, I've gained so much peace in knowing that, you know, my time is coming. God's gonna bless me when it's time. And until then, I'm gonna keep living my best single life. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna still treat myself, okay? They going out on dates. I'm gonna go, take me out on the date. How about that? I'm gonna go to the movies. I'm gonna go to the park. I'm gonna go down to the river walk and take me some photos, period. Okay. And then you start asking yourself, who is comparison? We don't know her anymore. We don't associate. Okay. All right, so the next couple questions kind of relate to each other. Somebody said, I need advice on contentment, please. And then somebody else said, how did you get content with singleness? So kind of like I talked about earlier when I was giving tips about the single season, dating yourself really, really helps. And you don't even have to take yourself out anywhere. You could just be in a crib, like maybe you could cook your favorite meal, okay? Or maybe that's Netflix. I remember on Valentine's Day this year, I took my little happy self over to Just Pizza, okay? I got me a little heart-shaped pizza, took it back to the crib, and I watched some, you know, little romance movies, okay? And I just chilled the whole night while people was out, you know, having a little Valentine's Day dinner. But I was content in that moment. That pizza and them breadsticks was good, honey, okay? And even with all of that, I'm gonna tell y'all what really helped me. And this is where this prayer journaling come in, okay? Because God really be talking to me. So I was praying one night in my prayer journal. I don't know what got me to this point, but I was just like so angry. I was mad. I was fed up. I said, God, look, I hate it here. I hate it here.
I hate it here.
I would love to be married. I would love to just have a boyfriend. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I don't even know what got me so upset. And that's where God stopped me in my tracks and said, I didn't call you to be somebody's girlfriend. I called you to be a wife. And I said, okay, God. That statement right there helps me remember that there is so much that goes into having a Christ-centered relationship. And it's so much more than having cute selfies on a gram, you know, updating your little status on Facebook, talk about you in a relationship. Baby, because what happens after that? You know what I'm saying? It also reminded me that marriage is ministry. And if you're not dating to marry, boo, I mean, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm dating to marry, okay? And I know a lot of people say, like, that's corny, or like, why do you do that? But when I remember that marriage is ministry, and that marriage should reflect how Jesus loved the church, that'll do it, honey. That's just it, right? When God spoke that to me, that just helped me remember the end goal. So that in itself helped me to be patient and not to settle, honey. Remember, God has his best for you. All right, here's a couple more questions that kind of go hand in hand. Someone said, how do you not grow weary in waiting? And then someone else asked, how do you handle the season of waiting for God to send you the one? Now, off rip, I'm going to tell you, there is a book that I read that it's called When God Says Wait. This book right here was so helpful in understanding how to wait. And it's very great encouragement in just reading stories of other women who had to wait. And it's not even solely based on singleness, but just hearing others' testimonies and even the main author, like how she got through, baby, that's all you need, okay? Another thing that I would say, I know that sounds kind of simple or cliche, but just keep the hope alive. When we have hope in Jesus and have hope in God and that he would do what he said he was going to do, that's powerful, okay? Another thing that's very helpful for me is music. And so, you know, guys, I talk about creating music playlists. And so I have a playlist on Apple Music specifically for waiting. All of those songs talk about waiting, and it's great encouragement during your waiting season, regardless whatever you are waiting for. So if you're interested in listening to that, definitely click the link in the I was going to say the bio, the link in the description box. And yeah. Now here's a question that I really love. Someone asked, godly green flags to look for. And now these are just mine, okay? I said, knowing that he's a true man of God, and that's, seeing it through his fruits, okay? Is he patient? Is he kind? Does he have self-control? Okay. I also said, can you see those fruit outside of the four walls of his church? Because there's a lot of people that I've seen who act one way in church and then they're a totally different person when they leave. And it's just like, why did you leave that at the door? Because I know my husband, he got to lead me, okay? He gonna have to lead me. Is he active in serving in church? Another good green flag is, does he ask me out on a date? There are guys who be like, let's go out for dinner, blase, blase. And there's other guys who be like, hey, let's just chill, let's hang out. And if he want to hang out at his crib, baby, nope. Can't do it, sweetie. Does he have a prayer life? Okay. Another good green flag is, is he pushing me towards my purpose? Okay. If you, share with him, I want to do this, and that. And even if it's something that you haven't expressed, and he sees, the gifts and talents that God has placed in your life, and he encourages you in those things, I think that's great. I think that's amazing. Another green flag is if he honors your purity, not trying to get inside your pants, okay? Does he respect your boundaries? I think that's a good one too. And this is just a little extra one, but like, is he mindful of your love languages? Okay, so if one of your top love languages are words of affirmation, is he, sprinkle a little word of affirmations every now and then? Your words of affirmation, well, I won't say physical touch, that's not really a good one. But acts of service, maybe he offering to like come pump your gas, okay? And he ain't even out, but he's mindful that like, hey, you're a young lady, we're courting and I want to make sure you're good and I don't want you pumping gas by yourself. Like, I think we love that around here. Okay. Oh, and I got to add, does his actions align with his words and vice versa? Because if that's not happening, I think that's a definitely big red flag. I didn't experience it. It's not fun. Okay. So the next question is how to forgive yourself for dating mistakes in the past. I haven't always remained pure when it came to dating, right? And there were times where I would beat myself up and I'd be like, dang, I wish I would have just stayed on the right track. And God, he's never a condemning God. He will convict though, but he has already forgiven us for all of our sins. And when we come to understand his love for us, it helps us to release all of that, Jesus already paid it all on the cross for me. And so I can start fresh and have Jesus along the way. Now, when I come to repent, I know I can't go back to the old things that I used to do. I can't dibble and dabble and try to serve God at the same time, especially if I'm trying to prepare my heart for marriage. But yeah, I think that definitely takes knowing who God is. So spending time with him, getting your word, and just understanding the love that he has for you is so great. And I can't even put into words how great God's love is. All right, next, someone asked, is it wrong to go on vacation with your boyfriend if you're saved? And I'll say this. So, you got your boyfriend, right? And let's say y'all like to, get a little touchy-feely sometimes, but you're trying to step away from that. Being on vacation with your boyfriend alone is not going to help you, okay? It's not. Keep it real, okay? Especially if you know how you are, you know how you get, you know how your flesh is. I even remember having a conversation with my mentor, and she was saying, like, just think about it. Like, even having your significant other in your apartment to just chill, why would you even set yourself up? Are you setting yourself up for success? Being on vacation in a hotel room with your boyfriend alone is not setting you up for success. So yeah, I will say it's not a sin to go on vacation with your boyfriend, but you have to remember the position that you're putting yourself in. When you put yourself in that situation, you may not know what your flesh will do. Satan comes to tempt us, okay? Real bad. And you know, it's just better to set yourself up for success. I used to be the person that would ask this question because I thought, you know, going on a vacation with my boyfriend sounds fun, exploring the world. You know, you want to do those things. But I think it would just be wise to save that for marriage. All right, getting down to the last couple questions. Someone asks, do you ever get discouraged in your singleness? Because I do, and I need advice. I will say that sometimes I do have my moments. I am the type of person that will get into this mood where I think back on situationships or relationships that didn't work out, and I would question, like, why didn't this work out for me? If only this would have happened, like, I probably would have been married by now. Or, oh, I'm just so upset, like, I just wish things had gone differently. When I start getting in those kind of thoughts is where I start to get discouraged, and I hate that for myself. So when those things or those thoughts start to come on, that's when I redirect myself to something else, like journaling or reading my word or turning on some music. And let me tell you, I went to the Maverick City music concert with Jonathan McReynolds, and he started talking about how one of his songs was kind of inspired by his ex, and I was just like, yo, say less. Okay, Moving On by Jonathan McReynolds. I would never look at the song the same. I would tell you, I would think about how I'm moving on from my past relationships. Like, I can't stay where I am. I have to move on and, you know, prepare my heart for what God has for me. And if you're feeling discouraged, talk to a sis, you know. Tell her, like, hey, I'm not really feeling it today. I just need some prayer. Or can we talk about this? I need to, like, hear your advice on, like, how I can get through this. I'm telling you, God did not create community for nothing. It is so very important to get connected with sisters who can encourage you, can be your purpose pushers, who can get you through, okay? Remember that being single is not a bad thing, okay? I don't know why we've made singleness feel so bad. I mean, I get why, but like, it doesn't have to be that way at all. God's love is all you really need. Even Paul said, he said, you know, it's probably better if you stay single. I mean, I don't plan on doing that, but like, it's nothing wrong with being single. And when we come to that realization and we come to embrace it by spending time with God, reading the word, taking yourself out on a date, it just gets better. Really, truly. I hope all of this helped. If you have any more questions or you want something more in depth, let me know in the comments down below. I know I have a lot of single ladies that watch the channel, so please let us chat it up in the comment section. Don't forget to thumbs up this video because that helps me know that you like the content and that you want more. If you're not subscribed, honey, get to it, okay? Because this godly community is steadily growing. The goal is to get to 700 by the end of this month. And so if you are not subscribed, but you've been loving the content, why not just hit that subscribe button and join the fam, okay? But that's all for today. So I will see you all in the next video. Bye.